screw on the way home.
You need to screw that, yeah.
It's like trying new, different hand samples. How's this one?
It's a good one. I don't know. It don't have that crazy stench to it. It's got that.
But I feel like the more alcohol you smell, the better. Like you know it's got the
like
stuff in there. If it smells too fruity and
they ain't really cleaned it. I don't want nothing to smell.
Yeah, the COVID is in there. Then.
We good?
Ready?
Yeah, we're good.
Yo, what's up? What's up? This is Royce the 5'9", and you about to check out the PreGame podcast next.
All right, listen to season 4, episode 43 of the PreGame podcast. Listen to PreGame podcast, man.
Back on road.
On road with it,
Really
man.
try to do big things, man. We in Detroit. First we start that burn rubber, but now we here with Royce the 5'9",
My
hip
brothers.
hop royalty, hip hop legend.
Man, y'all went to Burn Rubber? Y'all saw Ro?
Yeah. We
That's
sat
my
down
dog.
road for a little bit.
That's my
For
dog
sure.
right there, man.
That's
my
good
dog.
people over there.
Yeah.
Took
Indeed.
care of us.
They did.
If you're
For
not
sure.
familiar with Royce the 5'9", then you must live under a rock or 2 or 3. You know what I'm saying?
But he's in the country. That's cool.
Bro,
I mean,
one of
he's
the best
in the rap.
MCs we got.
You give him a round of applause real quick.
Man, let's give a round of applause for Royce
Thank
the
you, brothers.
5'9".
Thank you, my brothers. I appreciate those kind words. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming all the way to Detroit, to Heaven Studios.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for coming to being
Blessed
a
to
part
be
of
here,
my
for sure.
fine mess that I have
Check
going
the
on.
No, it's
No,
solid.
this-
We was
It's
there like,
no shit
oh,
off.
man, wow.
Wow.
I'm gonna give y'all a tour after we done doing this. So y'all
Guaranteed.
We in there.
Yeah.
All right, man, before we get started with the interview, of course, we got to do the pregame pop quiz.
Couple questions, nothing too serious. You know, just little
Fun
randoms.
questions.
Yeah.
Indeed.
We'll
Not
go
that the
first.
real questions are like very serious, but
Okay.
I'm gonna go way old school. This is very just basic hip hop. Pac or Biggie?
Pac and Biggie is not even comparable
Okay,
to me. And I say this with all respect.
absolutely.
Pac is something different from what Big is. Big didn't aspire to be all of the things that Pac is
True.
and was. You know, Pac was an activist.
Yeah.
Pac was an actor. Pac was he was just an all around. Pac was a better
Renaissance man.
In my opinion, Pac was more of a picture of what the black man is. Biggie is the number one of all time screenwriters. Biggie is like Alfred Hitchcock to me. You know, Life After Death, and this is why I always say it's perspective and it's criteria. Life After Death, I'll take Life After Death over any Tupac album, but I'll always put Tupac higher on my list than Biggie.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
He may have a better body of work, but in general, I would
just
take
in
him.
general,
Yeah.
just all around. Pac
I'm the
is
same
just,
way.
Pac is just not
It's total
comparable
package.
to
I'm a
any.
Pac guy.
He's not comparable to any rapper, ever.
Damn.
So we don't have another Pac right now. Nobody's even approaching.
Huh?
Nobody's even approaching what Pac did right now.
I mean, Jay-Z maybe in a different sort of way. You know, Jay-Z embodies a lot of things other than just his body's
He's got a
work.
generational pull for sure.
Yeah.
He's
He's icon.
But he's
places.
had a long, way
Right.
longer period of
Pac
time to
did
be able
what,
to do
6
it.
years?
Right.
Who's to say that Biggie wouldn't have developed into that?
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah, we don't
Biggie,
know.
The great thing about Biggie and Pac is they were 24 years old, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Come on, man. Came out of the gate with 2 classics. Kendrick did that already.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I was
big
alluding
facts.
to, because a lot of times people kind of put Kendrick in that mode, like he's on the way there.
He is. He is. He
Yeah.
is, man. Great. He's great, man. Came
Shout
out
out
the
to
gate
K-Dot.
great.
I'm gonna go with my question. So, what's the first verse you remember memorizing verbatim from another artist that like kind of made you fall in love with hip hop?
Great question.
Not on some brown sugar shit.
Bring the
but,
Yellow
you know.
Tape by E40.
E40.
Really?
Yeah.
Weebles.
I mean, that was the first one that I memorized that I prided myself on knowing it word for word and being able to recite it to other people and get like a giggle out
It's
of them.
power.
Yeah,
Oh, you've been listening.
Yeah.
You know that.
shit.
Because most of the people, when I would like rap that to them and tell them what it is, it was also me putting them up on E40.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Because it was like we were in Detroit. You know what I mean? We youngins at the time. You know, even though E40 is a big deal in Detroit, at this moment he was still kind of
Gotcha.
like independent.
It's interesting because like I feel like Oakland and Detroit got a weird tie to them, or just the West Coast in general. Even
do.
y'all slang is like similar.
Especially Oakland. Be Legit spent a whole lot of time in Detroit. Be Legit is tied to Detroit really serious.
That's crazy. Yeah, Justin Hunt mentioned that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
We love Oakland people, man. We love them.
It's a similar draw y'all got. Like y'all do it. Y'all them R's is hard out here.
Yeah, for sure. Man, you can't say nothing bad about E40, man. Can't say nothing bad about E40. I love E40, man.
That's real.
Love them.
All right, so my question, I know you're a rapper. I know you perfect your craft. Whenever you go in the booth, you always come your hardest. But let's say you're on the track with somebody who is bringing out the best in you. If you're working with somebody this week,
Eminem,
okay,
Crooked Eye, anybody in Slaughterhouse,
Definitely.
all right.
Black Thought.
Yeah.
That right there is enough to make me have a panic attack.
Cracking up.
Black Thought here. Okay.
Yeah.
That's real. That's real. Listen, you celebrating success. You know, you in the city of Detroit. Where are you going to eat with your family in the city where you like, okay, we about to have a celebratory dinner here? What you got?
Make the reservation.
Cafe Cortina in Farmington.
What they serve there? The steak?
It's Italian. 5-star Italian restaurant.
Damn.
They grow all their own fruits and
Mafioso
vegetables.
stuff.
Fruits and vegetables, yeah. You can have people in tuxedos playing violins and shit.
Wow, okay.
Right there
Next
at your
level.
table.
Okay. Shit off the TV. Shit off the movies.
Family with the owner. The owner I'm family with. It's a restaurant that's been in his family for generations. He's teaching me a lot just about ownership.
Yeah, that's real.
I just love the guy, man. I love the guy. I love the way they run the restaurant. I love his family. You know
Gotcha.
So shout out my man Adrian.
Shout out to Adrian. What you grabbing? What you ordering off the menu?
I usually I got to make it ghetto and just get spaghetti and meatballs.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Because they don't have spaghetti and meatballs on the menu per se, but it's one of those restaurants where you can just tell the chef what you're looking for and they'll specially make it for you.
Yeah.
So I always just get spaghetti and meatballs.
We just had a couple of world-class conies a minute ago. It was fire.
It was solid.
That's world class.
Yeah. We
That's
went to
Hunter's house.
Hunter's house or something. Yes. Around the corner.
Did we make the right decision?
I think so.
Okay.
Cool. It felt good. It was
Seems solid. You know what I mean?
We was in there joking. Like one of the spots you had to get out the back a couple years ago. Like we didn't feel overly welcome there, but it was cool.
Man, they were nice. But in the 50s, you know.
They opened the 50s too many times.
That was the norm.
All right, man. And speaking of, man, we're in a racial awakening right now. You know what I mean? Lots been going on, and you've been very vocal. Why is that? A lot of artists have been kind of quiet, but you've taken this moment to say, you know, I want to make sure that I do my best to educate the masses. Why is that? Why do you think that's important?
I mean, I think it's just a point in my life where this is happening, and at a time where I'm awakening myself.
Right.
I'm turning the corner in life. These things are happening. It's triggering certain emotions in me, and I'm just expressing those emotions. I've always been this way. It's just that this is just where I am in life. I think that a lot of these things were happening at a time in my life when I wasn't ready to notice them like I should and express them, and that's probably when I was in like my 20s or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right now I'm in my 40s. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different kind of triggering.
I understand.
And I, you know, but you notice everything at this age. You notice when not a lot of people are saying stuff. You notice when you need to be speaking.
Gotcha.
Sometimes you can speak a little too much. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can not say the right thing. Sometimes you can say the thing that's going to trigger something that's going to help.
A revolution.
Help the shit in a major way. So it's just one of those gambles. It's just good for the cause all the way across the board.
For sure.
I imagine as a younger artist, a 20-year-old artist, they're thinking, I just got in here. I don't want to mess this up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you said, you're in a different place. Like, look, I got to say what needs to be said because
it's an atmosphere. It's an atmosphere that's that way on purpose. You know, it's an atmosphere that's kind of created to make you feel like, you know, like you are, the situation you have can be taken away from you.
Right.
And I just don't think black music should be like that. I don't think black artists should come into black music feeling that way.
Yeah.
You know, I don't feel like it should be a carrot that's dangled over your head to make
Don't
you
say
think
too much.
that you got to kind of stay in your place.
Right.
I think black artists should get into black music and feel like they're in their place.
Right.
yeah.
That's real.
You know?
And I imagine a lot of them don't feel that way. You know, in a sense, I want to ask a question because I come from my family, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. So no matter what, if you in a power position to do your best to be active and engaged and help, then do so. And Twitter, I'm a Twitter person. We all on Twitter, you know. And so I fall into the trap of thinking like, oh man, so-and-so ain't saying nothing. that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like you be looking at your peers like, man, y'all damn near
Y'all real quiet right now.
Man, listen,
on?
I try not to do that, man. I really do. But I'm not perfect.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I try not to judge anybody on any level, but sometimes when I see artists going out of their way to step up and address things that just aren't important, it makes me wonder where is this energy at? Where's that energy at for this?
How you get like this?
Yeah, but that's a double-edged sword, because the flip side to that is when artists call themselves addressing these issues,
Everybody not
and they're
equipped,
like
man.
inaccurate,
Yep.
inconsistent,
Saying whatever they want
I'd
to
rather
say.
they just not say anything, because I don't feel like everybody needs to be speaking.
That's
That's
some of
real.
So it's hard to find that balance, and it's hard to just be looking at your brothers like, why you addressing this street shit and why you addressing it? It's like I can't say that I don't understand that either, man, because I was in that place too.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like all of these things, Tekashi snitching and all of these things, that shit meant something to me at a point in time and at a point in life too.
Yeah.
But I also hit a point where I was just like, damn, I just looked at everything like, wow, it never was about that. It never was about
takes
being a
growth
tough
for sure,
guy.
yeah.
It never was about being a tough guy.
They don't really care.
You know what I mean? Like, people really don't care about that
They
shit.
don't, because then it came out and
Unless you're going to be a UFC fighter or
yeah.
It better be
you're
tough
going
as nails.
to get paid to use your
Better be
hands.
tough as
You know what I
nails.
mean? So it's like, if it's about that, then it's about that. But, in this situation, people will sensationalize that shit even though it's not about that. People just like to be entertained.
Facts.
And I entertain them, but don't entertain them
Don't
to your
dance.
detriment.
Don't coon.
Don't be-
Yeah.
Don't be out here cooning. Just
Yeah.
be who you are, do what you got to do, but don't take it too far and make it
Don't
look
make it,
ridiculous.
don't make it come at a cost for your safety. Like, you succeeding should never come at a cost for your safety. You should never get into hip hop and feel like you need to hire shooters,
Bodyguards.
or muscle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this ain't about that, man. This
not.
ain't about
It's
that
supposed
at
to be
all.
Hollywood.
Yeah,
He's making music,
Yeah.
bro. He's supposed to be an entertainer.
We make songs, we do shows, we go home, guys.
But some people do come from that environment, though. You know what I mean?
and that mean you made it, brother. It mean you made it out. It don't mean this is that environment. This is very much the opposite.
Yeah,
of that
don't bring
environment.
that here, bro.
You came from football. This is flag football. You know what I mean? Take the shoulder pads off. Take the helmet off.
There's no concussions
This is
here.
not that.
You can't get one.
You can't hit him,
concussion
dog.
here.
Because
Chill
if the
out.
second you show that you about full contact, they're gonna look at you like you are crazy.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Man, that's a great analogy.
Bobby Schmurder. Shout out.
Wisdom early. I wanted to bring to attention. So you went on a Sway interview, and it was great, by the way. And you talked about how, like, with the Allegory, that album is about us moving forward as a black community. And you mentioned on there, like, it's important that we get rid of these caricatures. Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima. And here we are. They gone now. But at the same time, some people feel like, especially people like, millennials is like, well, that's not enough, or that's a small victory. Like, what is your take on that? Like, and what, in your opinion, what is the utopia in America for black people?
Well, it's good to get the narrative going. It's good to get the narrative going on a macro level. That's just narrative. On a level of people who are really been advocating for justice and for equality,
Right.
it seems like a small little baby step. And it's also, for these companies, we're looking at you like, okay, you could have been did this.
Yeah.
You could have been did
Damn,
this.
that was easy. You could have.
And also, you just showed us how easy it is that you can do this, and
Right.
you also showed us what you're willing and not willing to do.
Yeah.
It's just like the same way all the rest of the rights and things that we've been getting spoon-fed, and like we've been given for the last 300 years. Like the Civil Rights Act of 1866. It went from slaves being freed
Right.
to then Jim Crow.
Yeah.
And like even the first, I don't even know what year this was, but even the first black police officers were, I believe, in Atlanta. Where is it in Atlanta?
It was in the South.
Like 3 black men, first black police officers, but they weren't allowed to carry guns.
Yeah.
And they weren't
Tactics
allowed-
only, guys. Flashlights, tactics.
They weren't allowed to arrest white people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But they were allowed to be police officers. So, they just kind of giving us shit.
Here's a little
Here
bit
you
for
go.
you.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You know
Hey
what I'm
guys,
saying?
how about we let them vote this year? What do you think?
It's really an insult to the overall scheme of justice and
Yeah,
equality.
it is.
But like that's just I think
I
that
bet-
speaks to what America is.
I bet they caught hell. Well, sir, he was going 125 and a 25. That's nothing to do with you. You don't worry about that.
you 2/3.
We'll catch him.
police
It's
officers.
at
They
some
were
point.
robbing a bank,
You leave
though.
him alone.
Yeah.
Damn, 2/3 of a police officer. That's crazy.
Yikes.
That's real. That's real. And you know, what is your take on cancel culture? So right now we live in a very PC time period. We seen people, even J. Cole was catching strays. You know what I mean? Like, what is your take? And do you believe, like, you know, there are some black voices that we should definitely ignore, or we should definitely silence in this time period?
Yeah, I mean, when it's healthy for us, like, we can do without Terry Crews right now.
Yes.
I think we
gotta go.
I think we can do without his narrative.
Right.
I would never suggest do anything that would take away from his livelihood. You know, like, I wouldn't want to shut down any future roles for Terry Crews or anything. I don't believe that he should be canceled, you know, like future movie roles or anything that is his livelihood. But I do think that his comments, as they relate to black relations, he should shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, so canceled in that regard, but not just canceled. You know what I mean? So,
like I was saying, everybody's not equipped for it. So to us, like what Terry Crews was speaking on, we shouldn't even really validate it by even really getting outraged. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Just, you know, keep moving. I
said something recently. We just need to learn to walk and chew gum at the same time. You know, like we can disagree with what he's saying and his total approach, especially if we're aware of what he's trying to do.
Right.
Okay, we see what you're trying to do. So we not fucking with you, but we still want what's best for you.
Yeah.
Cancel culture is so strong.
White Chicks too is A-okay. Go ahead.
It's like we don't have a middle ground. It's like he's canceled. That's it. Go away forever. And I don't. That takes away livelihood. And I don't think people are thinking, I don't care what happens to him. We want him out of here. So
a part of that energy is like they want you to like be on the street somewhere. Like, we hate you, nigga. Go away. I hope you fail. Hope you lose all your money, nigga.
But that's not our nature. That's not our nature at all. That's not our nature at all. We don't. That's not our signature. You know what I mean? So we don't. That's not what we do in black culture. We don't destroy people's livelihoods. That's not our thing. So, you know, somebody like Candace Owens.
Yeah, man.
Totally
ridiculous.
Totally ignore. Because, you know, like,
stiff ass ponytail.
It's a hatred for us. You know, and it's a hatred for us that seems to be rooted in self-hate. And
quick to condemn each other.
It's a self-hate that's being projected onto you for not outwardly being submissive to white people's desire. A lot of white people's desire to feel superior to you, and you know, going out of your way to show that you're willing to behave inferior, you're willing to be complicit in some of the things that is systemic racism. And, you know,
eloquently,
all of those things, man. You know, like, once we can identify with what they are, then we can know how to handle them. But just canceling altogether,
not really working.
I don't know if that's our thing. You know,
man. While we on this topic, man, how you feel about, you know, Kanye's behavior recently? You know what I'm saying? Like, you think it's a ploy for albums, or is this something we should take seriously, consideration of his mental health? Or is he somebody we should, you know what I mean, start to ignore?
I don't think we ever should ignore Kanye.
Right.
I think it's something that I wished that more of us would take more serious. You know, and that's speaking from a place of someone who has already started to work on my mental health and speak to a therapist, and, you know, like, so there's certain instincts that I have, and there's certain behaviors that I see him displaying that trigger certain things in me. You know what I mean? So I worry about him more than anything. And a lot of things that he does, you know, they pose more questions than answers for me, and I don't like that.
I wanted to ask you about that because you mentioned therapy like prior to it being cool. It was like, I don't want to call it trendy, but it's definitely in the forefront now. You were going to therapy way back in, you know, the early 2000, late 2010 and whatnot. What kind of was like the catalyst for that to you? Because I think a lot of people go now because they hear it on the radio, they see it on TV.
Or honestly, Kanye,
people going, you know, like, you know, Kanye. Or Charlamagne the God was damn near at the forefront of like mental health. Go to a therapist. But you were way ahead of that. What was like your mindset going into it? Because it wasn't popular, especially for black men back then.
Well, at that time, it was just getting sober. Getting sober was the catalyst. I went in there, you know, just to talk about alcohol. That was it. You know, and it just opened up a lot of doors, man. Mm-hmm. I started to learn a lot of things about myself, and I started to learn not only is this just not just about alcohol or you know, addiction. This shit is like everything correlates to everything. Gotcha. You know what I mean? Like nothing is for a reason. Nothing is not for a reason. Nothing is nothing is just by chance. Everything is for a reason. You know, and once I was able to, you know, realize that, and I also was able to kind of take things off of me, off of my shoulders, and kind of like write them off as not just my fault.
Got you.
A lot of things I'm kind of like preconditioned to, or I'm, you know, I'm PTSD'd in a lot of ways. I'm fucking, you know what I mean? Like our evolution from slavery and the way that these things link back to a lot of things that happened back then. A lot of black people think that this shit, you know, that shit was just a long time ago. Yes, sir. And it's time to just sort of man up, so to speak. And a lot of white people feed that narrative. Yeah,
you
know,
because they don't want to talk. They're embarrassed. They don't want to
talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to hear you talk about it.
I didn't do that. That wasn't me.
They don't want to hear you talk about it. So I just feel like we're at a time now where it's time for all of us to start getting in touch with some of those feelings, and it's time for all of us to start kind of getting that clarification of self without white people interjecting all the time. So that's when I start kind of saying, yo, white people, just please, just not right now.
Pipe down on this.
Yeah, like not right now.
Chill, bro.
Don't get offended. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm not trying to say that you aren't going to be inclusive on some level at some point in time.
Right.
But please, man, just like we need to do our research, you need to do yours too, because you're programmed too.
Gotcha. You're programmed too. We all conditioned
to be
and
superior.
You're PTSD too, just in a different way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Superior.
Yeah, right. It's all of us. It's all of us. It's all of us that need therapy, man.
Help me out. So what was your first project or album like, Clear Minded?
The first one that I released was Prime.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That was the first one that I did and released. The second one was Layers, Trust the Shooter.
Yeah.
And then after that it was Book of Ryan. But all of those happened right after I got sober, but I was working on Book of Ryan that whole time.
Got you.
The first thing I wanted to start working on was Book of Ryan. And I just put those other projects out before, just so I wouldn't leap right into the serious heavy shit.
Got you.
But Book of Ryan was one of those projects that I just kind of took my time. I knew exactly how I wanted it to sound, what I wanted to say. I just took my time until it was right.
Yeah, it's literally a book too.
Yeah, Book of Ryan's so crazy. So I've been following you like closely since I say like 08. So what's that, bar exam 2-ish pretty much. And to find out so much new shit about an artist you've been listening to for damn near 7-8 years was like wild to me. Because normally you'll get like an artist to do their debut album, you kind of get some background on them. I feel like I didn't have that with you. But when Book of Ryan dropped, I'm like, damn, this nigga did this or that. Or even like the intro track to, I think, Layers, where you tell the story about your grandmother passing and you met him the same. And I'm like, I didn't know any of this shit. This shit's crazy. There's no way it was just weird that you were able, I think it's a part of like sobriety, because it was almost you're a different artist almost after that. I don't know if you didn't feel like you could be open back then about stuff like that, or if it was a situation where you were clear-minded and all this stuff was coming back to you.
Yeah, it's prior to me getting sober, all of the music you heard was just a reflection of being drunk all the time.
Drunken nights.
Being drunk all the time. And I had, little moments here and there where I thought about certain things. And Tabernacle was a song I tried to write before.
Got you.
It just didn't, I just wasn't able to get it. I wasn't able to get it to connect and come across.
Yeah.
And I think it's because earlier, when I tried to write it before, earlier in the song, I was kind of like, I had it. And then as the night would progress, I would get drunker and I would lose it.
Can't lose it.
Yeah, so that's what alcohol does to you in life,
Gotcha.
Not just in a studio session. So it stunts you. It stunts your growth in a lot of ways. It makes you forget about certain things that you don't want to think about,
right?
And it makes you live more in the moment. So you get music that's just a reflection of moments,
right?
Moments in time, instead of being able to truly reflect and take people on a journey,
right?
And I think that every artist should have at least that one self-defining album where you can listen to it and you get a idea of who you just listened to
as a person.
Who the person is,
right, front to back.
Yep.
So for me, and it's it's a tough dynamic for me as a fan. So I feel like a lot of people that love hip hop, the energy of like the pain you guys bring in the music is important. But at the same time, as an artist, that's not a area or a mind space you want to always be in. But as a fan, it's like, that's when the real shit comes. So how do you balance? I think you were able to do it in a cool way because you were like tapping back into your pain, like childhood stuff, your pops, your moms, as opposed to rapping about shit you were living in that moment. So you weren't like stuck there. You were able to get it out and then move on.
Yeah, you know, and I just it's crazy you say that because back then when I was doing the album, the caveat for me was to make sure that it didn't come off as dark. That was the thing for me.
Oh, there's some dark moments.
Let's not make it a dark album, even though I'm touching on some dark moments.
Right.
But you got to remember too, I already did Death is Certain, so it's very easy for when I'm speaking about these moments for everything to be perceived as dark.
Got you.
So I had to make sure moments like Bablo came off as bright, even sonically bright moments.
Yes.
You know, Life is Fair, really bright sounding. You know, like even I feel if I got to start singing.
First of the month.
Yeah, exactly.
I want the video, man. Can I get the video for first of the month, please?
Yeah, and I wanted to shoot a video for it, especially since my young dog Chav was on it. Travis Chandler was on it.
Got you.
And it's just one of those things where I just moved on to the next thought, and it just kind of got lost in the sauce and became collateral damage. You know.
How many of those projects were done in this studio?
Book Orion, the end of Book Orion was done here.
Okay.
Everything from Book Orion and beyond was done here.
Gotcha.
Layers was done at Mr. Porter's studio.
Okay.
Got you.
Trust the Shooter was done at the church place called The Church in Plymouth.
Okay.
Shout out to Chris Brees and Ryan Highland. And everything before then was done at either Mr. Porter's studio or my man Azar studio.
That's real.
Over there, Isolation.
I got a video question. Why do you feel like videos went away? And I know people still make them, but they're not highlighted.
Yeah.
Like it was a time where is the video out?
Right.
Oh man, I gotta see that, and it's not a thing anymore. Like what?
Really?
It doesn't. I mean, you think about video shows, 106 and Park, TRL, like they're not highlighted.
Right.
Where people are showing them, and you could in the 90s you sit home and watch videos all day. Rap City, come on, cool. Here we go.
He does it now, but it's a different feel to it.
I watch videos all the time.
But that's what I'm saying. But where though? Where are you watching?
On YouTube.
Exactly. They're not highlighted. They're not.
I want to say technology.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and I don't think it's the TV shows per se. I think it's the TV. Right. I think technology is kind of outgrowing TV, the concept of TV a little bit.
Absolutely.
I think
appointment viewing is gone.
Things are being on demand is more of a thing now than anything. You know, like so 106 and Park is one of those things that you want it to be at the TV at a certain time every day, so
like
you can make sure that you catch 106
it's gonna
and Park.
be crazy.
Now it's just kind of like a thing, even with award shows, man. You know what I mean? Now it's just kind of like a thing where we want to see shit when we want to see shit.
Yeah.
Right.
We want to check it out when we want to see it. Yeah.
Like
see who won
Hype
it.
Williams made a lot of videos.
$1 million budgets.
I mean, it was right. Is it a budget? Is it we don't need to spend money on that. We spend money on something else.
No, they don't. It doesn't cost the same no more. Okay. You know, like what you can do digitally. You know, like what you can do in Pro Tools versus what you could do on 2-inch tape it's wonders.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and there used to be a Pro Tools studio, like a big Pro Tools studio in Cali that people used to go to do things where it was like you would pay top dollar to do things. Now everything that you could do in that Pro Tools studio, you can do in your laptop in your home.
Yeah, by yourself.
Now,
So
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So the cost, what it takes to achieve these sounds, the price on that just went way down.
Think about the California Love video. Niggas getting off
Indeed.
airplanes. Like, it's a lot of
It's all,
shit they
it's
was
all
doing.
digital, you know. It's all digital shit done in post.
Right.
You know?
I wanted to ask. So for you, like, you got so many different avenues you put music out, as far as like Prime or Slaughterhouse or UNM doing Bad Meets Evil in your solo career, and you were able to like maneuver in all these different spaces. What do you think that says about you as like an artist to be able to? You're pretty much the glue guy for all these things, I would imagine. I can't think of anybody else that has that many different avenues. Maybe like Method Man back in the day, Solo, Wu-Tang, him and Red doing stuff. But for you, like you got a lot of things going on. How do you manage that?
That's a good question, and that's thank you for that. I mean, I never even looked at it like that. You know, how I kind of see it is like I was kind of the opposite of that guy. I kind of like just being in my own space. I think it's because of the way that my journey kind of went. It kind of made me kind of anti shit. And once I kind of started collaborating with people, I started liking it. Even when I didn't want to admit that I was liking it, I started liking it, and then I started learning the importance of it. And it started bringing out different things in me that I didn't know was there. So I didn't go into any of these situations feeling like, okay, I'm going to be the glue for that situation.
Right.
Just who you are creatively, who you are as a person, your natural characteristics, all of those things kind of come together and boom, they collide at the same time.
Yeah. Got you.
And bam, that's just what it is. You know what I mean? So
that's real.
My relationship with Joe versus my relationship with Crooked Joel, it just turns out that I connected to them in different ways where I could be the glue.
Right.
Or I could be the one, Crooked just happened to turn into the serial killer of the group. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't go into it saying, okay, I'm going to be that guy. It just happened to be,
And you were willing to let him be that guy.
Well, I didn't have a fucking choice. What was I supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like, the only other thing I could do. The only other thing I could do was try to out-rap him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's literally a panic attack waiting to happen. You know what I mean? So
that's real, man.
So, I was gonna say, so we named how you meshed well with all these guys. Anything like that coming in the future? I say that to say because I think you and the Griselda guys, y'all complement each other well, and I like hearing y'all on tracks together, and I would like to hear more.
Keep doing for it.
Yeah, I mean, shit, man. Come on, man. That's family. That's family. I work with those guys on any level, and in any capacity at any time. You know what I mean? So, I think that I think I can speak for them and say that they feel the same way. So, man, shit, sky's the limit on what could come out of that. You never know when you're gonna get a call from any of those guys with some sort of idea of some shit to do. And we've talked, me and Benny talked, he asked me, he sent me some shit to get on, and I sent him a rough version of what I was doing to it, just like in a text message video of what I was doing to it. And he like, hell yeah, send that. And I never ended up sending it to him.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of other shit was happening. Right. And I figured since he didn't get back on me,
he wasn't tripping.
He wasn't really tripping about it. So that kind of shit happens too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but them guys could crack the whip on me at any time. You know what I mean? So
for sure. And speaking of, man, so the Allegory is all self-produced and it's fire. I'm talking about top tier production. You know what I mean?
Very, very.
Think about the albums that came out, the projects came out. Yeah, that was crazy. We found out that you did the production. We was like, yo, what?
Yeah, I was reading the credits.
Royce did the whole
wait a
shit?
minute. Because I don't think it was promoted up front that you a producer, though. I was reading the credits. I'm like, wait a minute. Y'all know this nigga produced everything?
Yeah. I mean, it was just, I learned how to make beats in that process. You know what I mean? I think I always kind of been producing. But actually making the beats is the one little element that was missing that I needed to learn how to do. And I learned how to do it in that process.
Now, with that being said, are there artists now hitting your line like, hey, what's up, Royce?
Yeah.
Hey. Another new bag to get into.
You got tag yet? Besides the goat?
No, I'm never gonna do that.
Noise.
It's never gonna happen.
I did want to ask. So I've noticed the change in your style, like your flow, how you go about things. How was your technique of actually putting down a record these days? How's that changed for you? Say from like a Bar Exam 2 or Slaughterhouse production to the new Allegory.
I feel like it's forever evolving, just depending on what I want to talk about and however it comes out. I go from one flow to the next. One thing about me is I never abandon, anything that I've done I can redo, I can do, but I also want to keep in mind and try to be as progressive as possible and just not too progressive to where I'm getting ahead of the listener,
right,
so to speak. But,
alien voices.
Yeah.
How was the part of actually making the beat while trying to rap on it? How was that change things for you?
It's a different process. It's a different process that I don't think I figured out how to connect them together and be doing it simultaneously. So what I have to do is I have to kind of like pick one thing or the other when I'm working on it. So
got you.
To explain myself, when I'm making the beat, I'm not thinking about what I'm gonna write to.
Damn.
And then
Tuesday I'm working on beats.
I'm just trying to get it to a point where it's at least a skeleton. And if I really, really like what I'm making, that turns into me stopping producing it.
Gotcha.
And then now I got it where I'm just listening to it and writing. And then if I need to add to it in the mix, then I'll do that. That's how I did Black Savage.
Gotcha.
The version of Black Savage that I wrote to is totally different from what y'all
Really?
heard.
There's a lot of elements.
Black Savage is cold too.
Yeah, because I had to bring Carlos Brody in. I had to bring Mr. Porter in. I had to bring people in to help me achieve things sonically and help me figure out how do I get the main sample to be able to rap over it and then not clash.
Right.
I don't know how to do shit like that, so I had to bring in Porter, Brody,
bring the experts in.
Those guys are like masters, and they helped me come up with the right levels for it. You know, when I should filter things down a little bit, so it's not, and what, just little shit like that that's gonna come with time.
Nuance.
Sure.
Because now you got the headache of trying to get samples clear. Like you got the Ice
man.
Cube sample. Like, what's that
lawyer
like?
up. Shit.
Yep. I mean, it's something I've always went through. I just didn't have to personally deal with it.
Right.
Like, it just gave me a newfound respect for not only producers but shit management too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, damn, this what y'all got to go through.
Is that process really crazy? Like, bro, I want this sample. Hell nah.
Yeah.
Touch
What
my
you
shit.
gonna say on it?
Hell nah.
No,
Let me hear it.
That's
You
my
know what?
baby. Nigga ain't touching that.
That's how it used to be.
Really?
Nowadays, I think people, artists who own catalog and people who own the estate of catalogs, they just realize how much of big business it is. And they realize that it's not necessarily in their best interest if they're gonna own it to turn down money.
Right.
You
What's the
own
purpose
this
of
to
owning
make
it?
money
You
off
gotta
of
make money
this.
off of it.
That's the
Yeah.
whole purpose of it.
Right.
To license it out to
If
people.
you give it to me, I'm gonna get it spins and that money
so-
coming to you. So
They
What
gotta
I'm noticing
realize
now,
you're gonna do it anyway,
now that more
regardless.
people are more privy to that from a business standpoint, what I'm noticing now is people will just hit you hard.
Damn.
They'll hit
That's
you hard.
real.
If it's something that they don't necessarily want to license out their likeness to, if they feel like that it's not the best look for their likeness, they'll hit you hard.
So if I'm just random, like what do you think is just a crazy sample to try to get? Like somebody gonna be like, absolutely not, can't have that. Like I'm guessing something like Big Pimp and Jay-Z. Like, hey, you can't
Michael
have that,
Jackson, you can't have one of them.
You know what I've noticed? The most problematic situations are if you're saying something that's socially irresponsible.
Damn.
Something like something
down.
homophobic.
Oh yeah.
Or something like that, and it's somebody who owns the sample
say the
who
F
may
word
be
no more.
who may be either like a part of the LGBTQ community or something like that,
or adjacent to it.
yeah, they'll give you a hard time or they won't clear it at all.
They'll be like, nah.
Because it's like, they don't want to continue ignorant narrative.
Right.
They don't want to be complicit with that kind of narrative. They don't want to feed into that kind of narrative. So they'll give you a hard time. And that's great. That's great because
Moving forward.
you get to learn. You get to learn.
Right.
You get to learn why it's not a good idea to feed that kind of narrative.
And
You know what
these
I mean?
days, you're a bold person to even come at somebody with that these days anyway. Like with like homophobic bars or anything.
Bro,
Like,
my name is.
We listened to that on the way down here today.
My name
Yeah,
is.
we listened to it today.
Yeah,
We was
today
like,
we was
yo,
like, we cannot put this out today.
this shit would
We
not
can't put this
clear
out.
today.
Literally said I'm jacking but the Viagra ain't working. I'm like, oh,
Bro, my name is. My
on
name is.
radio.
From what I understand, my name was owned by somebody who was a part of the LGBTQ community, and that was like the big thing why he couldn't clear it because he had said so many insensitive things.
Damn.
some bad
And
shit.
I can't remember
they could just pick
exactly.
one.
I can't remember exact. I remember Dre trying to replay it, and I remember them playing it, Marshall playing it for me, and me being like, "Damn, it's just not the same though."
Yeah, there's definitely a couple different versions of it.
Yeah, 'cause
Early
the
him,
the
man, he
original-
was saying
One of them, the
whatever.
original is very fire. There's the other one that came out.
The original
that's
is so fucking beautiful, man.
It's so tight.
The original is perfect. It's perfect,
Yeah.
and it's like it just goes to show when you're making some classic shit, you got to kind of like it's got to be what it's meant to be.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I don't know what kind of rabbit they pulled out of their hat. Dre's been known to pull them out of his hat. Whatever they worked out, they worked it out.
It's funny
That's
you
crazy.
bring up Dre. You initially wanted to ask him about it, but I guess you took out the questions. But so you used to write for Dre, you used to write for Diddy, and that was something like you kind of like you were promoted. It wasn't like it was a hidden thing. So there's obviously a place for that in hip hop. What's your opinion on people maybe using the ghostwriter? Or I don't think what you were doing was technically ghostwriting. You were probably on the credits, I would imagine.
And
right?
is it more prevalent than what we think? Like, is it out there and we really don't know?
Well, and to be very clear, very honest, a very big rapper got popped for it. I mean, Drake almost was out of here.
Drake was.
I mean, when with him and Meek, and it was just like
I don't think he was almost out of here.
He wasn't going anywhere.
He wasn't.
I don't think.
No. People were at his neck. He just bounced back. He's Drake. You're not getting him out of here.
I don't think he
when it first happened, people were like,
he bounced back from anything, bro.
Back to back, and I was like, yep, he's fine.
What it made me realize
Back to back was
like,
not a bounce back.
People didn't really. It was like, oh, okay. I might have been mad about it, but niggas was like, Meek was good.
Listen, man. When you great at what you do,
it don't matter.
You can't really be on the chopping block,
it don't
bro.
matter.
Yeah.
Drake is great at what he does.
We've learned that. Drake
you're not
going nowhere.
He Teflon.
Drake ain't going nowhere for nothing
now,
like
now
that.
Unless he want to, he gotta leave himself.
So I mean, I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on ghostwriting. I mean, what I did helping out with Dre and helping out with Puff, those guys are so great at what they do. I never looked at it as like ghostwriting. I kind of looked at it as me coming and helping out with one element of what they were doing. And especially since Dre was actually creating a classic album at that time.
Right.
So rappers writing for other rappers, I've heard rumors of it happening. I've never seen it myself, but I have heard rumors of it. I've heard rumors of like Mad Skills writing for other guys. I've heard, people being too drunk in the session and people stepping up and writing for other guys. But I've never
sober,
witnessed
bro.
it. I've never witnessed it myself, but I've always heard about it in passing. Now it seems to be more prevalent. It seems to be more of a thing that people are willing to do, and it seems to be the collaborative process with raps seems to have evolved. And today, the younger generation, they're doing it a lot more freely.
Yeah, they brag about it.
Than I could ever remember. And I think that's cool. I think it's just, that's cool as long as you're willing to you got to be fair though. When it comes to doing lists and putting things into perspective, I think perspective and criteria is everything. So if we're talking about top 10, top 20 lyricists of all time, you automatically got to get bumped up that list if you're not writing everything yourself. But it's not to say that you're not great at what you do.
Right. You still gotta go in the booth and do it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that we have our strengths and we have our weaknesses.
Man, with that being said, I feel like lyricists catch a lot of flack these days, man. Like they almost are the most chastised, person in hip hop. I feel like they were once celebrated. Now it's like, well,
I want them damn words.
Lyrics. I ain't trying to hear that shit.
Remember the Lyricist Lounge show? It was a thing.
Look, Logic put out a great project, but he caught a lot of heat. You know what I mean? For being too, being too technical in his raps.
Rappity rap.
Yeah, too rappity rap.
What is your take on that?
I think
is it the new generation or like?
Yeah. I think it just speaks to people knowing what they want to hear. That's okay. You know what the problem is to me? The problem is to me when artists think that when it's an artist who was born to do a certain thing, who naturally does a certain thing, and that's just what they do. That artist trying to conform because he wants to create this thing that is relatable to all. There's no such art. And
if it is,
that's
it's not
relatable.
Can't reach
to all.
everybody.
Yeah.
You can't.
It's no such thing. It's no such thing. So it's okay, man. Like some
It's
people,
cool, bro.
Yeah, bro. Like some people don't want to hear your lyrical, miracle, spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Like some people don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? Like my problem is when guys that do that want to condemn the guys that don't do it. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. It's genius in all of this shit. It's a jewel in all of it. It's a lot of genius in the dumb down. I think there's a lot of genius in the way Drake dumbs things down that he doesn't get credit for, I feel. Like there's a lot of genius in...
He's a jingle writer.
Yeah, there's a lot of genius. There's a lot of genius in what Black Thought does that I feel like he doesn't get credit for. So it's all about how you want to look at it.
Speaking of credit, you recently were named the second best MC over 40?
Nah, first best.
I thought you got second.
He was on the.
They gave Jay number one.
They gave Jay one.
I was number two, but I'm not sure. I'm not so sure if it was the second best MC though.
Gotcha.
I think it was just
artist
having the best career over 40. Was that what it was?
I think it was the criteria was what we've done.
Projects released since 40. Right.
Gotcha.
What we've done since 40. So So I just think that we're judging bodies of work.
Yeah, Jay Snug Watch the Throne in there. That kind of made it unfair. Other than that, you got Booker Ryan and, you know what I'm saying, Allegory. You probably the one, but that Watch the Throne's deep.
It's a win. It's a win to be next to Jay-Z. You know, in any capacity is a win. You know what I mean? To be next to fucking, you know, Pusha T, Killer Mike, Black Thought.
Yeah, they've been
going
crazy
to be in that same, you know, to be in that same category. You're talking about guys that, for the most part, have a major platform. You know, and they're judging bodies of work that I've put out independently, versus those major label projects, and it's an honor.
It made me realize it's not so much a young man's sport anymore. Like, they were naming guys, I'm like, damn, he is 40. Damn, he is 40. Like, Pusha T put Daytona out. Like, that's
y'all getting better too,
right?
Like with time,
we're gonna get to a point, man, in hip hop where I feel like what we do is gonna age better than any genre of music has ever. You know, and I think you know, when you see an old rocker versus an older hip hopper, you're gonna see guys either getting better, or just guys carrying that greatness a little bit more graceful. You know, like a little less beat up in the face. You know what I mean?
Y'all drink more water for sure.
A little more healthy.
Sure.
Yeah, a little bit more healthy.
That's part of evolution. I mean, it's kind of the way, like, the world, being healthy is a thing now. It's health is wealth. So it just is naturally like, I can do it longer. I can do it better. Versus if you was 40 in 1997, it's like,
I'm vegan, bro. I'm a rap forever.
You know what I mean?
Y'all gonna hear me,
different.
nigga.
It's different
because we don't think about longevity when we first come into this business. The first thing we think about is how can we kill ourselves? How fast can we kill ourselves?
I got a lot of money. I want to spend this shit.
What crazy shit can I do?
Yeah.
I just got this money.
Man, I wanted you to speak about your writing process. That's why there's gonna be a lot of rappers from the city listen to this episode, as they should. And, like, you know, how do you get better? I just watched the LA Leakers freestyle. Oh, it was crazy.
Thank you.
You rap for like 10 minutes, switch the flow like, you know what I mean, 5, 6, 7 times.
Seamlessly.
And I know at one point it wasn't always like that. So what do you do to continue to sharpen your pen on a daily basis?
I mean, I try to get better just as a person. You know, I feel like knowledge of self, first of all, is the key to everything. So, you know, if you can identify, and this all goes back to therapy, if you can just identify with the things that need to be worked on to become a better person every day in life, you know, creativity finds its place in that process. You know, I think a lot of times we get told shit, like anecdotal shit, like yo, man, you got to stay up. You got to stay aware with what's going on.
You got to be two steps ahead of these niggas, bro.
And we put so much emphasis in that everything else in our lives starts slipping.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's, you know, that's the worst thing you can do to yourself as a man. Fuck as an artist, because you're a man first.
Right.
You know, and if you put some of that same energy just into improving as a human, you know, the creativity is always going to land in the right place. Intent is everything.
For sure.
You know, once you start feeling like and start making moves that would indicate that you feel like you can control certain things that you know you can't control. You can't control what the audience is going to be. You can't put on a certain outfit and then, you know, that means that the kids are going to like you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, once you start doing that, then you just lost it.
Right. You got some skinny jeans on, y'all. That's our guy.
Now you just in the midlife crisis, and that's not good for any of us.
Trying to figure it out.
For sure.
I did so. I want to ask Bar Exam. So the Bar Exam series to me is one of my favorite mixtape series, like front to back, because I feel like there's no misses in the 4 of them.
Thank you.
And the stages of it, I feel like one, you were like, hey, y'all, I can rap. I got me fucked up. The second one was like, hey, I'm better than you niggas. I can rap better than y'all. What's up? And the third one, you was kind of like, I'm better than y'all. Let me joke around a little bit. It's going to be a little more funny. And then the fourth one is like the OG status, like, I rap better than you niggas. Y'all know it already. Here goes some bars. Are we going to get a fifth? Like, where's that mindset at?
Ooh. I mean, listen, first of all, I love doing Bar Exam because it's easy work. It's easy work when I'm mentally there. It's easy. I love it. I love easy work because whenever I go to put pen to a pad, my mind is automatically going to go there first before anything. The thing about that is I'm triggered. I'm triggered right now. So it's like I don't always think to do that. Like, I can't always get fulfillment out of that kind of rap. It just depends on what's going on. Right now, you know, I could write a 16 about being better than another MC. Easy. that's not hard to do for me.
Play
you know what I mean?
ABCs.
But it doesn't necessarily give me the same fulfillment that it did when I made the last bar exam. You know what I mean? And I just attribute that to sometimes we just, as writers, we have a greater purpose at different times. You know, and there's something that I need to be contributing to the game, and I'm not so sure that that's always music.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like it's our jobs as creators to have a firm understanding of that. Like, you know, like if I use Jay-Z for an example, like him giving us an album right now, I don't know if that would be as valuable as what he's contributing.
Right. It would almost detract from that.
Yeah, so it's like we got to understand that. We can't be those guys who like be like fighters where we're the last ones to realize when we should be retiring. And shit like
slopping
that.
on yourself and shit.
And we don't have to always announce that we retiring, you know what I mean? Because we're never retiring. We
Step
always
back from
here.
music a little bit. That's all it is.
We always here. So, you know, like if I come in the studio, which I'm here all the time, so my intention to make music is 100% here.
Got you.
It's always here because I love doing it. It don't always flow like that. You know, sometimes I come in here, I'm writing something down, and I'm distracted because I'm like on the phone with, you know, different people from the city and different people from different mental health organizations talking about launching an initiative, or I'm talking about donating something to the front line of hospital workers for the COVID situation, and I'm getting fulfillment out of that. And throughout that whole process, I'm still trying to find out what do I want to say right now.
Got you.
So, you know, when I figure out exactly what I want to say, you guys will be the first to know. I'm gonna give it right to you. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna force my creative prowess onto you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so, especially not at the expense of something else that I can be doing that could be more.
I felt like
beneficial.
the biggest things with the bar exams, like you were somebody I can go to for like. It was always in the moment. So like the first one, you didn't really like the sound of music at the time, so you kind of did a bunch of classics like Nas, just like beats and stuff like that. The second one was in the midst of the election, a lot of political bars. The third one was like, hey, these kids, I don't fuck with these kids, these jeans and shit like that was going on. It's weird. And the fourth was it was in a different time. I think Obama was about to go out of office. You was kind of worried about what's coming up.
Nah, you know what the fourth one? You know what inspired the fourth one?
What's that?
It was the end of year list. The end year list, and everybody was leaving me off their list.
That you fucked up.
They had me fucked up.
Hey,
So
it
started out with the Wait a Minute freestyle. And then after that I did another freestyle, then another freestyle. And after I did like 4 of them,
So I got a mixtape.
I was like, you know what? I think Keno may have been like, yo, man, you might as well just go ahead and do another bar exam. So I just kept it going. You know,
All the things like 2020 is a crazy fucking year. I'm like,
Insane.
a bar exam 5 during all this would be crazy. So much to talk about. That's just me being selfish.
You know what people should do, in my humble opinion? People should really go unpack bar exam 4. Because when I released bar exam 4, the day I released it is when Prodigy passed. God rest his soul. And I stopped promoting it. I stopped doing anything with it. So it just kind of went under the radar.
Got you.
It'll be what it is.
Yeah,
That's real.
Yeah, so I just didn't feel like that would be. I felt like that would be counterproductive to just hip hop in general.
It's
for me to be
tone deaf.
marketing that to
Yeah,
you
it's tone
for
deaf.
such a terrible time
Yeah.
in hip hop. So I think, man, bar exam 4, people should go back and unpack that one.
That's real.
I'll do that.
Man, you mentioned the importance of mentoring. You know, you mentioned it a lot, and guiding young artists coming up. Is there a particular artist, or is there a particular group of artists that you continue to mentor and help as they journey throughout their rap careers?
No, not necessarily. I mean, there's a lot of young artists that I love. I love seeing them grow, and who I've given advice to, but you know, me feeling like reaching out to them and giving them some good words was just because of great moves that I seen they were making. You know what I mean?
Got you.
Like IDK,
Like IDK.
like YB
IDK.
and Corday, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
guys
he's
like
nice.
that.
They be rapping.
Guys like that, man. It's like, you know, man, shit, man, I could die knowing hip hop is in their hands.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's real. That's very real. Man, you've had an amazing career. You know, you 20 years in the game. A lot of rappers can't even say that. They're here for a moment. You've been here for a long time, over 2
All
decades.
kinds of things. You had the major. You had
You've seen it all with the industry. And again, I know that awards don't mean shit in the grand scheme of things. It don't have nothing to do with the fact that you've been, you a legend. Do you feel as though that sometimes you feel like, man, hold on, I am somewhat disrespected, or I do feel slighted, you know what I mean, in the sense of everything that I've been able to accomplish?
And as it pertains to awards and receiving awards? Well, shit, man, I've never released an album on a major. Everything has been independent, so it's kind of hard for me to really, really logistically be in that race. Right. Those awards they're always major label artists.
There's some money involved in those.
Yeah, politics. Yeah. I've never had the budget to, you know what I'm saying? Gotcha. So I mean, and I think that people think that a lot of my art, that a lot of my projects are on major labels, just because the way that it appears and the people who I stand next to at different times. But yeah, man, like when it comes down to it, a lot of times I'm just overlooked just because it's not that major label budget.
Indeed.
To place me in front of people in that way, which would separate me from a lot of people that are in those categories. But yeah, I mean, I've said fuck those awards plenty of times. It's because I never got one. So it's easy for me to do that.
Some of the great stuff ever.
It's easy for me to do that. Now, if the Grammys wanted to give me an award, then that'd be different. Then
I'll be there in my suit.
I'll probably be like, wait, let me think about
tux. Been waiting to wear.
You got some projects that actually deserve that shit. You know what I'm saying? But man, last question. You mentioned that you are a seeker of information. As you gotten older, you said, look, I'm trying to embrace as much knowledge as I can, read as much as I can. What are some things that you are reading now? That people should really tune into or actually seek out themselves?
I haven't read anything in a long time. The last thing I read was The Allegory of the Cave Theory by Plato.
And that led to the album.
That led to the album. Gotcha. I think The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success is really good for young artists to delve into, Deepak Chopra. But, like if you just read what's going on currently, and you kind of read the ideologies that people adopt who are conservative Republican versus, the ideologies that people adopt who are right-wing, whatever you call those, Democrat, right-wing Democrat.
Liberal people.
And then versus the liberals are the ones that are in the middle, right?
Liberals are left, rights are conservative, as far as I know.
Oh, I thought left was conservative. See how it's
easy to mess up.
It is.
Yeah.
No, right is definitely conservative.
Right is conservative and left is liberal.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. If you just look at that, if you just read into that, you just weigh one against the other, and just kind of make your political awareness just based off of what's being said, and the ideologies that some people adopt. I think that can do you a little justice, because I think people need to understand the importance of voting and the importance that your vote has.
Right.
It's being marketed to you as, your vote your vote goes a long way. You need to know just how long that your vote goes.
Right.
And you need to understand the importance of it, but you also need to understand the amount of distance that vote goes.
For sure.
And I think once you have an understanding of that, you can start having an understanding of what we need as black people and the things that need to be fixed in the role that we need to be playing, especially as celebrities and people with a platform. And I think that's a good way to unpack that.
Gotcha.
Just as fans and, fans of the culture and shit like that, and as citizens, yeah, man, your vote counts.
Yeah.
On a macro level, yes.
Niggas.
Yeah. Yep.
For real.
Go vote.
Do it.
Register to vote.
Man,
look, Royce the 5'9", the PreGame podcast, Heaven Studios, go spin the Allegory. The Allegory is crazy. A lot of important shit you hear on there. Go spin Book of Ryan, crazy.
I checked the box off. I'm geeked.
For sure.
Thank you, man.
Let's give another round of applause for Royce the 5'9".
Thank you for those kind words, man. Love and respect to y'all brothers, man. Appreciate it.